shit, this is fantastic. You know, the plot development was great and believable, albeit within the Batman canon. You know, you have to stretch believability a little bit, but still, the motivations of the characters were totally fucking fantastic. And you know what? Even so, even with Christian Bale and his crazy ass voice with "I am Batman," you know, even so, you know, the movie was fantastic. And one thing, I heard a couple people saying, "Oh, well, you know, if Heath Ledger wins an Oscar, they'll just give it to him because of the fact that, you know, because he died." No, he delivered a fucking fantastic performance. And fuck all of you if you think anything else, and eat my dick.
Okay. So for those of you who just joined us, because my fucking screen recorder took
Okay,
so
I'm
long
sorry,
to fire
but
up,
your whole going into the whole,
we're
well, I do this
actually
and I have
talking
this,
about Indiana
and this
Jones
makes me a
4, believe
qualified
it or not,
Batman
and it's
fan.
actually gotten into a
If
side
having
discussion
things
about
and
the
reading
Dark
things
Knight
makes
that
you
Kit and
a
Allie are just going
qualified
to town
Batman
over.
fan,
And
then
if
I'm a
Allie would
pretty
stop
fucking
talking
qualified
over me
Batman
for a
fan, considering
second,
I
I could
sleep on his
actually give a
face
proper
every
intro
night.
to this video, and then they could continue the discussion uninterrupted. Thank you, Allie. Okay, so we're talking
Well,
about
it's
Indiana
great for you.
Jones
I'm not saying
4
you're
Hi,
anything less
Sean.
of a
because
Batman fan. I'm just
fucking
saying that,
hell,
you know, it
you
was a
people are
good movie.
impossible.
It was a good
Tom
movie
is
even
just
if you had
like
never
minding
read
himself.
any
Okay.
Batman in your life, which is pretty impossible.
Okay, it was an okay movie. I will say it was a really okay movie, and I was like, it was cool. It was entertaining. It was not as a big deal as they made it be. Everyone was like, Dark Knight, Dark Knight. Oh my God, it's gonna be fucking epic, epic, yeah. It was good, but
So it got overblown for you. Personally, I stopped listening to a lot of the hype after a certain point. So maybe it was through my view that, you know, because I stopped looking at the oh my god, sneak preview clip and these little things. You know, I stopped, you know, so that I could take it as it was. It's your choice whether or not to expose yourself to some of that shit, the hype, the marketing.
I don't expose myself to the hype. But I'm sorry, I watched the
And if you
news.
think differently, you will face my foot gun.
The ultimate comic book movie is recording me while I sit on the john and read from the comic.
I would so pay $10 to watch that, Isamu.
You know what? I would give the Oscar to that.
Stout
Personally.
says, yes, I would too. Okay, now, hang on. Back.
Well, I mean, there was some Green Lantern talks for the Justice League movie. Common might play him, which I actually think he looks pretty good as Jon Stewart.
Okay, back to Indiana Jones 4. Kit was just going on and
No,
on
I want
about
a
how it was a
full-on
swirling
Green Lantern
whirlpool of
movie.
suckage,
But I'm too afraid that it would suck.
and that it wasn't believable enough. And then
Yeah, with
somehow
the Green
that
Lantern
segued
Corps,
into the
that would
Dark
be
Knight
cool.
conversation. And Isamu was saying, did you like the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles? And everybody was saying, yes, Young Indiana Jones Chronicles was great. But back to Indiana Jones 4. How is Indiana Jones 4 any less plausible,
Fuckballs.
believable, or coherent than the previous 3? Tell me how exactly
It's
it
not
is
about believability,
any
it's
less
about quality,
concur,
you
John.
know?
than the
There's
previous
no
3.
scene
concur.
in Indiana Jones 4 where you could sit there and be like, that is the scene that everyone will remember that movie for. In Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark, there's the scene with the boulder, and, you know, and then there's the other scene, I forget if that's in 1 or 2, with the showdown with the guy with the sword, and he just shoots him, you know? And then in The Last Crusade, there's the thing where he's about to get on the Zeppelin and he throws the guy off, and everyone looks at him and he's like, no ticket. It's a great scene.
So-
There's no,
Okay,
you know,
okay.
epic scene in Indiana Jones 4.
Isamu, go.
I've seen the movie once. Okay, just to let it be known. Okay, just to let it be known. Okay, Memorable scenes being the big fucking ants.
Yes. Yes, the ants.
The part where like they get in the fight inside of the soda shop and like the guys are like greasers.
Okay,
There's so many
that
fucking
that
scenes
is
in
one
that
of those
movie that are
ridiculous
so
lines. Though.
memorable.
That was actually one of the only good lines in that whole movie. Get that greaser. Get those greasers.
The part with the fucking
There's
refrigerator.
an absolutely memorable and epic.
I don't care how plausible it is. Whatever, it's still memorable.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Okay, let's get back to the roots of Indiana Jones here.
All right.
Hang
You know
on,
what?
hang on,
I've
hang on,
been
guys,
drinking
hear
enough
me out.
that
This
I'm
is
at the
important.
point where I'm gonna threaten to
Hang on.
impregnate you now.
The roots.
I will impregnate you, Isamu. So
Hang
raw.
on. Okay, the roots of Indiana Jones are the movie serials, the cliffhanger movie serials of the 30s and 40s. That's where the inspiration came from. And that's... I can't... Allie's asking me to put on headphones. I can't, Allie, because I'm recording this conversation. When I stop recording, I'll put it back to mic only, and it will reduce the echo. But, if I put it on mic only right now, it won't pick up everybody else's voices. But the thing
echo
is...
in your face.
The thing is, okay, the roots of it are the 30s and 40s movie serials. Now tell me that any one of those was even remotely plausible or believable. No, they're not. Don't wait for the translation, Mr. Prime Minister. They're not
But
plausible.
you know what?
But what are they? What are they? It begins with F. It's a 3-letter word. They are fun. Fun. Thank you, Stoudman. Stoudman got it before I even said it.
But the thing
They
is that
are
Indiana
fun.
Jones 4 wasn't fun. It was
had a
just
blast.
stupid. It was just like the action scenes weren't even like, oh my god, that's so fantastic.
I had so much fun watching Indy 4. I loved the first 3, 1 and 3 specifically, although there are elements of 2 that I enjoy. I expected it. That's exactly it, Stout. Stout says because I didn't expect too much. That's exactly it. You go into Indiana Jones expecting it to be over-the-top action.
I didn't expect
ridiculous
too much.
plots,
I wasn't expecting too much
but
either.
a hell of a lot of fun. And I had a blast with Indy 4. I thought it was great.
I expected
to
a good
see Harrison
movie.
Ford
Was
back
that too much?
playing Indy. I'm going to get a lot of flack for this, but I don't have a problem with Shia LaBeouf. I don't. I enjoyed him in Transformers. I enjoyed him in Indy 4. I don't have a problem with Shia LaBeouf. And I don't understand why so many other people do.
Fucking Shia LaBeouf.
I think he's a talented young actor.
You know what?
Who has a long
Shia LaBeouf
and happy
is a fucking
future in
douchebag.
Hollywood.
Disturbia, alright? You know Disturbia is finally getting sued for being a fucking Rear Window
Good.
ripoff.
Good. I'm glad
Yeah,
about that.
the only thing he was good in was fucking...
I called it. When I saw the fucking trailer for Disturbia, I
even
said,
Stevens.
Rear Window ripoff.
And I get
am
Holes
not
was
watching
there,
that movie.
but fucking even Stevens.
I don't blame Shia LaBeouf for that. I blame the fucking producers for that, for making it in the first place. Lag. I don't blame Shia LaBeouf for Disturbia. I blame the fucking producers for that, for making it in the first place, for greenlighting it in the first place. That was a bad idea that never should have been done. It was a blatant Rear Window ripoff, and I love Rear Window. But that's neither here nor there.
I blame Shia LaBeouf for not, knowing and not stopping.
Well...
an actor chooses what he does.
Well...
Actors choose based on fucking bullshit like that.
That's another discussion, perhaps for another time. But we're focusing on Indy 4 here. I already conceded to the Dark Knight aside. We're going to stay focused on Indy 4 now. Now, a lot of people complain about the whole fact that it was aliens at the end. I've said before, I'll say again, for the record now, because I'm recording, how is Aliens any less plausible?
Yes, of course.
How is Aliens any less plausible than the fucking power of God, which we have seen in not one, but 2 of the previous movies? If anything, I find Aliens more plausible than the power of God. Opinions?
I mean, because if I wanted to go see a shitty movie about aliens, I would have seen X-Files too.
Isamu says, it needs to be Jesus so I can make sure my kids fear God, Sean. It should have been the spirit of Jesus. Well, see, that's just it. Like, I've seen some of your rants about religion, Stout, so I kind of know where you're coming from on this. Stout says, I think it's as plausible. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. Is like, people get all bent out of shape that it was aliens. I mean, first off, okay, they...
Let me just point something out. Raiders of the Lost Ark on Rotten Tomatoes has 94%. Indiana Jones and Temple of Doom has 84%.
What are you looking at?
Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade has 89%. So it's starting to go up. And then Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, 77%.
Because people had unrealistic expectations for what it was going to be. People have set the previous three movies on this pedestal of classic moviedom and just no longer recognize what they actually are, which is the ultimate tribute to the crap-ass, completely implausible, but fun as hell movie series of yesteryear. And in that, Indy 4 was completely consistent with the previous three. Yeah, Stout, Eight-Legged Freaks. Excellent example. I loved Eight-Legged Freaks because it didn't pretend to be anything that it wasn't. It was pure cheese from beginning to end, and that's all it was ever meant to be. And it was a fun movie. I loved Eight-Legged Freaks. Great movie. Fun as hell. Cheesy to the max. A1 entertainment. And on the same level, I rate the Indiana Jones movies. The only difference is bigger budget. You know? It's a bigger budget, Eight-Legged Freaks. That's the Indiana Jones movies in a nutshell. To me. Opinions? I tried to open something else to the floor. I can't remember what it was now. But opinions on everything I've said. Go!
I'm gonna put my dick in your mouth. My opinion.
Excellent opinion, Kit. Anything else you'd like to add? Anything maybe relevant? Actually, he was only in 2 Star Wars movies, Stout, just to clarify, but I understand where you're coming from. Stout is
That's
saying,
very relevant.
my opinion is that Hayden Christensen should be shot. He sucked ass in Jumper, he sucked ass in Awake, he sucked ass in all 3 Star Wars movies. He ruins every movie he's in. He does not know how to act. It's funny, because I was, just this week I've been playing Battlefront 2, which is a fucking awesome game. And in one of the levels, I got to play as the leader character, which in this case was Anakin, voiced by someone doing an impersonation of Hayden Christensen as Anakin. And it's like, the impersonation was just like, wow, whiny bitch. You know? It's just like... And then later, in a later level, I got to play as Darth Vader, and I was like, yeah, Darth Vader kicks ass. But it's Angel Jones. Or at least
Obi-Wan.
a reasonable approximation thereof. So you're saying holy shit, and that is his character in every film. It cracked me and Annetta, who was watching me play. It cracked us both up, because it's just like, you know, it's like, okay, basically I'm playing as Anakin and slice through a bunch of rebel soldiers, and just says, I found that quite exhilarating. And then it's like, he loses all his energy, so you can't play as the leader character anymore. And he's like, I'm tired. I'm leaving. And the funny thing is, it wasn't Hayden Christensen, but it totally sounded like him, and it was totally the way he would have done it. And it was fucking hilarious, because I totally see where you're coming from. I liked the character of Anakin and the potential for the character of Anakin, and I liked the look of Hayden Christensen. But the way he acted, it's just like, I want to totally fault him, but I can't, because the scripts were so fucking awful. Oh, like, prime example, episode 2. I really enjoyed episode 2 overall, i.e. the scenes that Anakin wasn't in. The whole thing on Kamino with Obi-Wan discovering the clone army, fucking awesome. My god, that's where the stormtroopers came from. Fucking awesome. Oh my god, Jango Fett, he's where Boba Fett came from? Fucking awesome. The only scene I really enjoyed with Anakin was where he meets up.
Okay, Sean, I have to interrupt you.
Hang on a second. I'm going somewhere with this.
This is gonna sound like blasphemy to you, I'm sure.
No, hang on a second. I'm going somewhere with this. Okay, the only scene that I really enjoyed seeing Anakin in was when he goes back. He goes to the village of the Sand People and finds his mother. And I think the main reason that scene was so good was because the actress playing Shmi was so good. It tears your heart out when she tries to say, I love you, and she dies before she finishes saying, I love you. Then Anakin goes ballistic and kills everybody, which I still maintain to this day we should have seen more of. Okay, the big problem I had, and the whole sort of crux of what is wrong with that whole storyline. He goes back to Padme after that and tells
even
her
the younglings?
And he's like, I killed everybody, even the women and children. And what's her reaction? She's totally cool with it. She's like, it's okay. What the fuck? It's okay? Yeah, it's okay that you slaughtered a whole fucking village of men, women, and children. No problem, I understand. You were pissed off. I felt so bad for Natalie Portman having to mouth those lines, because she is a fucking awesome actress. She has been in some really good shit, and she has some acting chops. But the whole thing about Hayden Christensen, and the dialogue was just like, that whole subplot of Anakin loving Padme was so crappily written and so lacking any real emotion. It was so fucking forced. Like, yeah, she was great in V for Vendetta. See, I mean, that's a film that comes from some excellent source material, and the Wachowski brothers were clearly respective of that, while still making it a little more accessible to the modern audience. And yes, Isamu, the professional, Leon, yes. Awesome. Great movie. I have the director's cut in my DVD collection, proudly. Fucking brilliant movie. Jean Reno really needs some more leading roles, seriously. Like, I think he's really underrated, and needs to stop playing fucking supporting characters and more leading characters, because Leon was fucking brilliant. But, yeah, that whole love story subplot was just so poorly written. I tried to suspend my disbelief, but I just couldn't. I couldn't. Because it just went on and on and on, one forced moment after another. It's like, punching me in the balls. And it's like, oh, stop, just stop. We know they have to get together to conceive Luke and Leia, but fucking hell, can't you do it a little better than that? Let somebody else write it, for God's sake, George. I know it's your baby, but you let somebody else do it on Empire and Return of the Jedi, and those are two fucking awesome movies, except for the Ewoks, and, well, I didn't even have a big problem with the Ewoks, but Chewbacca doing the fucking Tarzan yell, come on. Anyway, go, Isamu. You've been wanting to interject for a while. Go, go.
As far as it goes, when you say that scripts ruin
Up,
the
up,
movies,
jump, jump. Up, jump, jump.
I understand that. I do. But look, okay, look. You're gonna think this is total blasphemy. Everybody that's a fucking, like, sci-fi fan, they all think this is blasphemy. But I'm gonna say this straight from my heart. The original Star Wars movie script was not a piece of gold. I'm sorry. It wasn't. It was not the most amazing thing that's ever graced the fucking face of Hollywood or graced the fucking face of, like, film. It wasn't. If it wasn't for good acting, and granted, a lot of people in that film, it was sort of their first time at this, you know.
Yep.
If it wasn't for the great acting, that movie probably would not have been such a fabulous, fabulous film. It wouldn't have been. It just would have been another fucking just generic, cheesy, like, sci-fi film from the 80s that nobody even paid any attention to. And I mean, it's just, honestly, I mean, I seriously think that was one of the biggest things with Star Wars, was the acting was really, really good. I mean, you had these just ridiculously cheesy parts of the film that were just so stupid and cheesy, but they didn't work without the people that were in the films actually believing the stuff that was going on was actually happening. You don't get that anymore, man. You don't get, like, people that have the acting where they actually have to believe that something's there. They're just too busy just, like, you know, whatever the fuck they teach them in school now, which is ridiculous, because I've been through acting school. You know, it's a bunch of load of bullshit when I went through it, so it's got to be even worse now.
Yeah. No, it's totally true, Sam. Well, I mean, to enter Star Wars into the equation of what we were talking about before, if Indiana Jones was based on, say, Zorro and the Perils of Pauline, Star Wars was very much based on the likes of Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. I mean, Lucas himself has said that, with elements of Kurosawa's storylines thrown into the mix, and mythology and stuff. It was an amalgamation of all these different things. But the heart of it was the cliffhanger serials, once again. And no, the original Star Wars trilogy is not high art, by any means. It's fun. It's fun. That's really all it boils down to. And it's not high art in terms of writing. But here's the thing that worked about the original trilogy that didn't work in the prequel trilogy. In the original trilogy, it was a good ensemble. It was a good mix of characters with, you know, there was some good one-liners and stuff like that just, it all clicked somehow. There's some indefinable quality about the original trilogy that just clicked. And a lot of people attribute it to the fact that Lucas didn't have a direct hand in every single aspect of the original trilogy, that he left certain elements of it to other more capable hands, such as I think it was Howard Kazanjian, or Harold Kazanjian, I can't remember the exact name, but who wrote the screenplay. Basically, Lucas just worked out the basic plot, and he left it to other more capable writers to actually write the screenplay. So the screenplays, especially if you look at Empire, from a screenplay standpoint, it has a wonderful, beautiful flow and structure to it. Even the subplots, they all come together very nicely by the end of it. Yes, it ends on a cliffhanger, but everything within that framework ends satisfactorily by the end of it. And you're left with a satisfying movie-going experience by the end of it. Name me one movie in the prequel trilogy that has that quality about it. There's nothing. Like, for example, okay, perfect example. What's the big love story that traverses the length of the original trilogy? Han and Leia, okay? And then the prequel trilogy, you've got Padme and Anakin. Now compare those two love stories. Compare the way they flow, the way they make you feel as a movie viewer.
Or Leia and
the
Luke.
prequel series is very disjointed, more so than your average sci-fi television series.
So I mean, if you just compare,
By television.
okay, primarily the Padme Anakin thing is episodes 2 and 3. Han and Leia is primarily episodes 5 and 6. So the latter two of each trilogy. That's fine. There's symmetry to that. But the way the Han and Leia one develops, just I don't know how to describe it because I'm drunk, but it just has a better flow to it. You know, it's like, okay, take the very end of Empire Strikes Back. Han is being lowered into the carbonite chamber, and Leia, who Han has been dogging through the whole thing, you love me, you love me, you love me, and you won't admit it, but you love me.
Oh man, that's a great ending.
So like, as Han's being lowered into the carbonite chamber, Leia finally says, I love you. What does Han say? I know. Fucking classic! Why is that classic? Because it is a totally... Sorry. Because it is a totally appropriate ending to
Great
that
line.
subplot.
Not only great line, but great, you know, from what I hear, is a great ad-lib.
Is it really an ad-lib? I didn't know that. But it's great. The whole thing just fits together so perfectly. So let me ask you, where is the I love you,
Yeah, he
I
actually
know
ad-libbed that
moment?
line. That wasn't written into the script. He just made it up on the spot.
Cool. Well, that's kudos to Harrison Ford for that one. Okay, so let me ask you, where is that moment? The way that moment made you feel. You hear him say that, you hear her say that, and you're like cheering, like, yeah, we knew it! Finally, Leia's seen the light! Fucking A! She loves Han! Han loves her! And he's getting frozen in carbonite. Oh, the tragedy! Oh, the pain! That's fucking beautiful! That's great! That is so great! Where is that moment in the Anakin Padme relationship? Where? Where is it? Where is any moment even remotely as satisfying and emotional as that
I
moment?
think it comes somewhere around. No.
There's... Well, yeah. Okay. Yes, we get it. Okay. Long and short of it is, there's nothing.
Somewhere in there.
There is nothing. That whole fucking relationship was
Okay,
forced
see, I always had this
and
idea, right? I had
badly
this idea
written.
for a YouTube video.
Somewhere in there.
Oh, wait a minute. Oh, no. Okay. Someone's resetting. Go ahead.
And the idea is to have, like, the extra scene that you didn't see in the theaters after watching the credits, which was just Darth Vader still going, oh.
Yes, that was the moment. No, that was not the moment. That was the only thing that really irritated me about the whole prequel trilogy, was I understood that this relationship had to happen. I understood the necessity of it. No problem there. What I didn't like at all was how it was executed. It was just so clumsy and awkward and badly written, and I felt bad for Hayden Christensen and Natalie Portman having to speak those lines. They were so bad. There was no magic. There was no passion.
I mean, it wasn't like it was beneath Hayden Geely
Like,
wouldn't
fuck.
have been beneath Hayden Christensen.
Yeah. So.
They should have just gotten fucking Keanu Reeves to be Anakin.
On that note, we're going to close off the recording. Keanu Reeves should have been Anakin.
Nice.
No, we're not serious. See you later, folks.